Hello, my beautiful aviators. RandomEd787 here. So, Flight Simulator 2024 has been out for a few days, and yes, I know about the elephant in the room, the disastrous launch. I am not going to be talking about that in this video. I already made a video on that topic. So today we're just going to be focusing on the sim itself and my overall first impressions. I've had about close to 15 hours so far. I've done a little bit of free flight and career mode. And I'm also going to be talking about some things that I noticed in the sim as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, now starting in no particular order, I'm just going to be kind of going over a couple of notes that I've taken. Let's start first with the control bindings. This has been a little bit of a controversy going on with the community, and yeah, I'm kind of on board with that. The new layout is a bit confusing, but I have managed to get a lot of my control profiles on. In fact, all my peripherals work perfectly fine. My IR tracker works just fine. My honeycomb yoke and Bravo throttle quadrant all work good. My rudder pedals are just fine. I think it's just more of a matter of getting used to the new layout. I understand why some people are a little ticked about it. That's, super confusing and just feel like that didn't need to be changed, which I can agree with. But I think over time, once we get used to it, we're not going to really care about it that much in the end. But I haven't had too much trouble with that. Now let's talk about bugs. Bugs. Yeah, you might as well call this Microsoft Bug Simulator, because believe me, I've been running into quite a bit of them. Maybe not as much as some others, but I definitely had my fair of them. So anyways, let's talk about first the visual glitches. Oh my goodness. I ran into a few. Here's a couple of pictures. Yeah. It looks like something out of freaking Inception right now at JFK. It's pretty hilarious. And it really bugs me because, my gosh, the airports are so damn detailed, at least with JFK that I noticed. But there is one thing about these, especially big airports, that's really been ticking me off. But I'll get into that later on. But now moving on to general bugs. One that I've noticed, and I think I've heard that this was a bug in the alpha. For some reason, my IR tracker, in case you guys don't know what that is, that's basically what I use to help turn my head and look around the cockpit without having to use the mouse. It's basically like VR without VR. For some reason, it's active in the main menu, and I have no freaking clue why. Very irritating. I hope that's fixed soon. And this one right here really, really frustrates me. When it comes to the walk-around feature. First off, I love this feature. This is awesome. I'm so glad Asobo added this in. But for some reason, some of the planes that I've noticed, in fact, I'm going to put the ones that I've noticed up here on screen right now. Some of them are just buggy and non-functional. And this is actually not good for career mode because you have wear and tear and you need to make sure that everything's functioning. Like, for example, I believe it's on the Cessna 152. I can't even check the oil. Like, how is this a thing? Now, granted, I don't know if this is a Flight Simulator issue itself, or if this has something to do with the developers developing some of these planes. But either way, very frustrating. I don't know why this is a thing. I hope this is fixed quickly. And next bug, this one also really irritates me. And that's the Cessna 172 basic variant. I want to make that clear. Basic variant. This is the one where it has the regular analog instruments, not the Garmin G1000. The plane just doesn't start. I tried everything I could. The plane just does not want to start. I have to be on the runway. I have to depart from the runway in order for the engine to be run. And I'm sorry. That's just not how I fly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll see myself out. So yeah, these are just some of the bugs that I've come across so far. But again, at least the live weather has been working. That was something that 2020 did not have. The live weather has been working fantastic in this game, at least in my local area. And it all looks so great, visually speaking. This is a very pretty game. Not a huge step up from 2020, but I don't know how much better you can really do. from that game, but still, when it comes to bugs, there's quite a bit of them. I may not have as I've had a bad experience as some others, but I do have some frustrating experiences nonetheless. Now let's talk about performance, and this was something that Azobo was talking about quite a bit to the lead up of this game. This is a very mixed bag so far, so let me just get the things that I'm not sure if Azobo was being very truthful about. Let me just start this first. I've had 0 crashes to desktop, 0. Now, I've had instances where I've had to do Alt F4 because the game was just glitching out and I had to quit. So, like for example, I was doing a training mission and I failed it, and the screen just went black and it kept loading infinitely and it wouldn't restart the mission. So, those are the only instances. But as far as like an actual crash to desktop, I have not had that happen to me once, so that's very good. So when it comes to the frame rate, generally it's really stable. It's really good. However, remember when I mentioned that there was one thing for me killing my immersion at these big airports? The frame rate at places like JFK, LAX, it is hot, steaming garbage. We're talking like the mid to low 20s in the frame rates. And it's not just me. There is a video. I posted this in my community tab of a guy named Jay's 2 Cents, who's a big PC gamer YouTuber, or a big PC gaming channel. And he has like a RTX 4090 on this thing. I forgot the CPU, but it's a good CPU. He's getting in the 20s too at LAX. I'm sorry. This is unacceptable. This is not acceptable anymore. When are we going to start getting stable frame rates at dense airports? Now, granted, when I fly over places like New York City, I can actually hit 60 frames. It seems to be the performance right now. The problem is at dense airports. This needs to be fixed because I have no reason to go and fly an A330 over at JFK if the frame rate's going to be in the 20s the majority of the time. It just makes the experience so frustrating, and it's also frustrating because these airports are so detailed, aside from the Inception type glitches I mentioned previously. But yeah, that's the one thing that's really killing it for me in terms of performance, is when you go to dense airports. Like my own local international airport where I live, it runs fine, but just about the same as 2020. I really don't notice much of an improvement. And yes, I did hear one of my subscribers make a really good point that yes, we've gotten more detailed airports now, and the frame rate's still the same, which, yeah, it's a good thing, but I'd rather have an increase in performance with a little bit of a tweak of immersion, just maybe making, like, ground services a little bit more immersive. But so far, I have noticed some cool things, like you can actually see passengers boarding from the gates. That's pretty cool, and it's not a cinematic. You actually get to see it, so I really like that. All right, now onto the good stuff regarding performance. This is the area where I feel like Azobo, yeah, I feel like they were definitely accurate when they were talking about this, and that's regarding load times. Now, as far as loading up the sim, there's no difference, okay? You're going to be waiting just as long as 2020, at least a little more than 2 minutes, and that does depend on your PC as well. So getting into the sim, it's still a long haul. But when it comes to loading into an airport, yeah, there is a noticeable difference in how fast it is. And that includes dense airports, too. You actually get in them quite a bit faster. And what I also love is that when you exit the flight, you end the flight or go to main menu, it is instant. It is instant. It is so cool, and it's such a great quality of life improvement, because I remember with 2020, when you ended a flight, you had to go through another loading screen just to get back to the main menu. That is gonzo, and that's all because of that cloud stuff that they're doing, which I see where they're coming from on that. So in terms of load times, at least inside the sim, not loading into the sim, but when it comes to being the sim itself, like doing careers, or when it comes to starting something in free flight, yes, you are probably going to notice a pretty big difference in terms of load times. But again, that could depend on your PC build as well. So I don't know. The results may vary, but for me, I definitely have noticed a difference, and I completely welcome it. This next bit is a little bit disappointing, but I'm not really all that upset about it because I understand this part is a little complicated, and that's moving stuff from your community folder over to FS 2024. So I tried experimenting with that last night, at least with my A2A Piper Comanche. It doesn't work. It doesn't work almost at all. It'll show up in the aircraft list, and you can load it into a flight, but you can't control it, you can't turn it on, you can't do almost anything. Now, I don't know, maybe there's something that I'm missing, but honestly, I think I'd rather just wait for someone like A2A just to come out with an update. And plus, there's so many aircraft in FS 2024 already that, you know what? If I gotta hold off on my Comanche for a little while, not a big deal, not a big deal. So, I'm not that upset about it. I understand it's a complicated situation, and I do know, to clarify, that Azobo was mostly talking about marketplace type add-ons. Those were going to be the ones that were going to be mostly be able to transfer over. They didn't really talk too much, at least from what I remember, about third-party add-ons from like different websites. That's probably a little bit more complicated. I understand that's a very complicated issue with backwards compatibility like that. So I can kind of remain patient on that. I'm not all that upset about it. There's so many aircraft I haven't flown yet in 2024, so not a biggie. A little disappointing, but again, it's not too bothersome. Okay, now I saved the best for last. This is the part of the game. Yes, I know some people get triggered when they hear people call Flight Simulator a game, but it's still a video game, guys. Just saying. It can be a simulator and a game at the same time. Like, look at City Skylines, okay? That's a game, but it's also a simulator. Okay, moving on. So, career mode. This has so far been a very pleasant surprise. I had no idea I was going to be enjoying it as much as I have so far. Now, that could change, but based on what I've done so far, I think I'm having a blast with this. It is really fun. Although I am going to say, oh man, who wrote the dialogue for the passengers? Oh gosh, it is so cringy. Not all the time, but a lot of times I'm like, oh man, who wrote this? Oh, this is bad. But besides that, it is so much fun, and I'm just eager to go up in the ranks even more. I did not think I was going to be enjoying career mode as much as I thought I would so far, and I can't wait to get back in and do some more. So when eventually I come out with my review, then hopefully I can go into more details about it, what I like best or what I maybe don't like about it. You know, I'm only a few hours into it, so I can't really give you a consensus on that yet, but so far I've been really enjoying it, even though there's a little bit of repetition to it, and there's a little bit of repeat dialogue when you do some of the same missions. I can't deny that I've been having fun with it. So I'm really excited to go and dive in and do a lot more. Alrighty, that is going to do it for my first impressions of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So far, it's been a good experience besides launch day. But as I said, you know, doing free flight, career mode, I've been having a really good time. I've had a couple of bugs I've been running into that are a bit frustrating, some just a little bit annoying. But overall, I'd say things are looking good. The future looks promising for this sim. And I'm super excited to see what we're going to get down the road. I just really hope we get some performance improvements at dense airports, because that's really driving me crazy. But anyways, guys, now, I know there's going to be a lot of opinions, because now I'm going to be asking all of you. This is where it's going to get interesting. So, what have your experiences been like so far with Flight Simulator 2024? I want to know all of them. If you ran into any bugs, if there's something you're really enjoying, just please share everything in those comments below. I would love to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. So, anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this video. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out and happy flying.